Azalea is like a crotch rocket motorbike, dude. That thing ramps like nothing else. Like,
All right, hello and welcome all to episode 21 of the WINANDIN podcast. Today I have my loyal musketeers, the three musketeers. It's me, Eric Dauernheim, Gabe Hohenstein. How you doing, Gabe?
Great.
And Jonathan Wyatt. How you doing, Jonathan?
doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. All right, well, we have a lot to talk about. A lot of things have happened since our last podcast, so we're just gonna hop right on in. First thing that went down is the whole new meta is here. We have the whole new outsider meta that's fast approaching. We haven't had an official LSS event yet, but we have had a Chicago 5K, which kind of gave us a little insight on what to expect. And yeah, anything that jumped out to you guys on that?
Yeah, we got two new heroes entering the fold. It seems.
Yeah.
Azalea seemed to be making the strongest leap forward.
Mhm.
With these most recent competitive events we've seen, but also to some people's surprise, to some people not so much of a surprise. But Uzuri did also kind of leap forward as well.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing a little bit of prevalence there, but kind of interesting. Azalea, we're kind of seeing a lot of people build a very similar deck, but it's still really strong in its representation. But Uzuri, I feel like we're seeing a couple different builds.
It seems like Uzuri has a lot of different avenues to go through. I've seen like pummels builds, I've seen contract builds, and Sam Dando's build, which is like totally off than anything else I've seen with like yellow ravenous rabbles and nimbalisms and whatnot. It looks like Arachne solitary confinement, but in like CC form.
Man, I would have loved Arachne to get an adult form. I feel like
That would be kind of cool.
So interesting.
I think that would hurt the former Arachne, but I don't know. Would Arachne mains be all that upset if they got another Arachne?
Dude,
Probably
that chess
not.
piece would be so sick, though.
And
And
actually though.
But I'm also curious, like how much there's like that reluctance to print like Go Again as a hero ability.
True.
So soon.
Yeah. I mean that's why he's at 19, right? So it's all fair.
Yeah. So, but man, Outsiders has been pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I think the constructed meta getting like shaking it up. You know, we don't have the usual 2.5 heroes.
Mhm.
You know, we did see the usual suspects. We saw one Oldham there, and then Michael Hamilton on Icelander there, but they didn't even look like the dominant decks anymore. It looks like they were just kind of squeaked in. We also saw a Briar deck again. Looked like it kind of squeaked in. It looked like it was really Azalea and Uzuri that really took the charge and took the lead. And we even saw a dash there, which we always see a dash somewhere, so that's not too surprising. But yeah, it looks like Outsider really shook things up, which is awesome. That's what we want out of a new set, at least. So pretty happy on that.
So I guess like the other one
Gabe?
we didn't see was Riptide. Like, what are your standpoints on Riptide then? Like, do you think?
Yeah, it seems like Riptide probably got the short end of the stick. There's always one hero.
Mm-hmm.
I think people may still be learning Riptide. I think he has a couple of play lines that are kind of interesting. That I'm curious if people just haven't been exploring it. One thing that was kind of a takeaway, and not like a huge criticism, so don't take this to heart, but like a lot of the decks that we saw, even at like the Chicago Brawl, they weren't like what I would consider perfect, right? They had like what I would consider some sort of flaw to it, right? And I think that's kind of normal considering like how quickly there was a turnaround from the release of the set to that tournament, right? Same weekend.
Yeah, it was. It was about the same weekend. Like, yeah, you basically probably had to buy your product at that tournament, basically. I mean, especially when it comes to Majestics like Codex and Frailties and what have you. You probably needed like a case wouldn't give you that product. You probably would have to go and buy, and like singles probably wouldn't come in time. So in that aspect, it was probably pretty interesting. But I 100% agree. I don't think any of the decks are 100% complete. I think that there's fine tuning to be done to every hero, and I think one of the biggest like storylines is the fact that Michael Hamilton on Icelander got not beaten once but twice by Brody on Azalea, which Hamilton, is by far the best Flesh and Blood player, but getting beat, I think it kind of showed that maybe even he wasn't ready for the Azalea rush. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting storyline. I myself believe that, that while this event was decently sized, it's still not an official event. So
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to use that recording against Michael Hamilton, and I'm not going to
Right.
say that, Brody's really made his leap forward just yet.
Right.
I think it's still happening, but I think we're seeing that transition move along a little bit here. So,
Yeah, yeah.
interesting story going into Pro Tour Baltimore for sure, right?
A lot of eyes will be on those two, as well as Levi. I think. I think Levi, a a mythical beast of this podcast that we always talk about.
He's a nasty son of a gun on that Azalea.
Well, he's in his prime right now. Unfortunate what happened to him at the Chicago deal with the IP2, and I don't want to get all too negative on it because like that upset me. I'm sure it upset him.
Well, let's just say it. He got screwed.
He got screwed.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that was a bad judge ruling.
Oh, it was bad judges. I mean, straight up.
Yeah.
All right. You know what? We talked enough about it. Let's just give it to our listeners. Basically, Levi and Sam Dando were facing each other. There was a judge ruling that got missed that should have been found. Basically,
it was a dominate, right?
2 cards blocked on a dominate, and that shouldn't have happened, but it did. Both players were playing extremely fast, so a mistake was kind of bound to happen. Both players didn't catch it. The judges didn't catch it. It wasn't until, a YouTube chat caught it. But it wasn't until after the fact that it was made known. And to me, it feels like, if everyone missed it at the time, it's a slap on the wrist for everyone. But hey, just, do better at it. But instead, we got the judge saying that Levi gets to start with an IP2 because of the last game. And, it might have been the difference. It might have been the difference where Sam Dando would have won. But, like, either way, it's like, I don't know. It just didn't feel quite right.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't. I didn't appreciate that. So, I mean, it's just one of those things. I don't really like retroactive rulings. I know that there are times where it is necessary. But at least for me, it didn't feel like it was necessary there.
Agreed. Especially it being the finals. Like you want the finals to be the most like even playing field so that you get the best skilled player coming out. And I'll be honest. I'll say a hot take. Brody is a friend of the show. He's been on twice, so we like Brody a lot. But I think even Brody would say that he was probably a little intimidated in that matchup because Brody picked up that deck the morning of, where Levi has been tuning that deck even when Azalea wasn't good. So it was actually to a huge advantage to Brody for Levi to get that IP2. But Brody still won, so we can't take that away from him. Just the same reason why I was upset that the IP was given to Levi. So I think we will be having some eyes on Brody, Hamilton, and Levi going into the Pro Tour. Be very interesting, very fun.
Yeah, great storyline going into such a big event. So looking forward to it.
As well as we'll see about Uzuri. I know a lot of people. Not a lot of people want to necessarily pick up Azalea. I think people just kind of have that feeling towards Rangers sometimes.
It's a lot of work. I never learned it because it was too much effort to go back and forth.
Yeah, I think the bow intimidates. The arsenal intimidates sometimes. But Uzuri, what I've noticed, at least as part of my local, is that more people actually are looking to pick up Uzuri because it just seems it's one of the new heroes, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm kind of curious if we see an uptick on Uzuri representation when it comes to the Pro Tour.
I would hope so.
Interesting.
I mean, even down here, everyone's trying to play Uzuri as well. They're like, hey, do you have these cards for this and that? And I'm like, those are my Uzuri cards.
I mean, as far as the two heroes mentioned, Azalea and Uzuri. I mean, Azalea is frustrating because she has Dominate and a lot of these on-hit triggers that, you just can't get around, right? And
big taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. So you're going to be getting your frailty tokens, your blood rot, and your inertia tokens. So you'll get a fair share of those playing against Azalea, and then on the other end, Uzuri is annoying with the attack reactions, and there's just like all these kind of extra layers of disruption that that they can bring forward, right? So it's just two really frustrating decks to play against. So I think as far as the meta is concerned, I would really like to see those two kind of at the top because, I mean,
they're a good matchup between the two.
I think it'd be sweet.
Yeah, they're frustrating to play against, but at the same time, like there's that kind of extra layer of those tokens add to the gameplay, which I think is exciting for a new event around the horizon.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think you're absolutely right. Both those decks very frustrating to play against. On the other hand, both those decks very fun to play with.
Yeah, it's frustrating because it's new, and it's like you can't have that corner to hide back to now, where it's like games could where you couldn't die, right? It feels like that life total it dwindles, and
yeah, it's not quick death.
Yeah, you're getting backed into a corner, and now like you're playing the game on a different axis where you either have to play quick or you have to be able to maneuver around those tokens.
Yeah,
so
definitely, which kind of shifts the meta. We're not really seeing it so aggressive anymore because of these taxing effects, and it's actually more encouraged to block a little bit more, especially with Uzuri. So we're seeing a meta that's changing from being very aggressive with with the Fies and Briars, into being like aggressive and then having like the control counterpart with the Oldhams and Icelanders. But now we're kind of starting to get into the middle and finding that mid-range meta. I think that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, getting down and dirty with the outsiders.
Yeah,
going
exactly.
It's getting scrappy.
Yep. So that's been the CC meta. The limited. Have you guys been doing some drafts as of late?
Yeah, I was able to get my first draft in last week at Reaper Games. So Bill hosted, so that was a lot of fun.
Dude, Bill's the OG.
Oh yeah, for sure. So that was like really cool, being able to get that first draft experience because, playing sealed at the pre-release, I think I was able to learn a lot about the heroes and kind of the base tools that they had, but also like with a more limited card pool with draft and, a set number of players, I don't know, it's just a completely different experience, and it's something that I've sorely missed in the game, considering I didn't play the Uprising draft. So I've kind of been down like two drafts, right? So it's really nice. It's a good draft.
It is. It feels awesome. I know your store hasn't got the product to draft quite yet, Gabe, but I know when that comes,
it'll be sweet. It'll be sweet.
It's gonna be, because like I've been enjoying it a lot. This reminds me more of kind of like a WTR. It kind of feels like it has a bit of that Tails element as well, as far as like how open you can stay. I thought you could surely stay open till the end of pack 1, but I'm actually kind of finding out I can stay open until like the middle of pack 2, which is like actually a really good draft if you're able to do that. So I've been enjoying this draft quite a bit. I think it's a lot of fun. We obviously have a ton of videos on YouTube for it. But yeah. All right. And then I guess the final format we have to talk about. I guess I'm gonna do a little snippet on this actually, because there's another format that got mentioned recently, which is Commoner. Um, I played Commoner for the first time. I actually thought it was kind of fun, but apparently, we're getting some shifts in Commoner. You can play rare equipments. What you got?
I got a question, because you said that you don't have to pick your hero till like pack half.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that.
To
Yeah.
like in my experience, when I get into draft, I've been watching some of these videos, right? But I'm curious your opinion, because like when I get into draft, I choose my hero before I open my pack.
Oh no.
You know who did that the other day?
The one warning.
I'm gonna call out one of our listeners here. Our boy Jeremy did that the other day, and you can ask Jeremy how that worked out.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's dude. Yeah, you just don't have to do it. I think with uprising, go for it. You know what?
Forcing, baby.
Choose that hero right before.
Dude, I was pleasantly surprised at how my options were to pivot, because like the way that like the packs read sometimes, like you can get stuck, or quote unquote stuck, but like it definitely doesn't feel that way.
No, like there's a lot of good generics that can go amongst the other heroes. We're in this set where yellows isn't a bad color. Yellow is acceptable. You know what I mean? You're not seeing just yellows at the end of every pack anymore, which is nice. So it's like, yeah, there's tons of good generics, and I've had 2 drafts where I was a Benji and I was right next to a Katsu, and I had a great Benji deck, and he had a good Katsu deck, and it's just, even within the same class, being different heroes, it's gonna work out really nice.
Oh man, Katsu's still an enigma for me.
He's I've been very surprised with how like the Katsu decks I've been seeing in limited. I think Katsu's pretty interesting because I think he's probably one of the ones that gets underdrafted. So you'll see Surgings and Bonds of Ancestries kind of wheel, and once you see those wheel, it's like, I mean, if you're already picking ninja cards, I mean, you might be starting making a good Katsu deck at that point.
Yeah, I just haven't gotten there yet, but we will. But dude, this draft has been awesome. Can't wait to practice more.
Yeah, definitely. Hell yeah. All right, and then the final format, because there is some skirmish events that are going to be sealed into top 8 draft, but there's also some skirmish events that are going to be in the Blitz. I have no idea what to expect out of Blitz.
We've been playing.
I don't know if any of the new heroes are going to make big waves. I have no idea on anything. I've heard like some cool things with Riptide being able to use Plunder Run and Premeditate. I don't know.
That's fun.
Yeah, I'm curious like how Azalea would do into the Blitz meta, but like to your point, like that's my only question. I don't know like how any of the other heroes would do either.
Right, yeah. I do know Kano still exists, right? So like you better have something for that. But we kind of do now with Brush Off. That's kind of a anti-Kano card. That's it's free, so it's kind of nice. Could be something to use. Find out. I really don't know.
Yeah. So, have you already signed up for your skirmish events?
I got 2. One is the sealed. One is Blitz. The Blitz one's in about 2 weeks. So I got a little bit of time to try to figure out a deck and get something working. Yeah.
Nice.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of upcoming events, let's get into the news about all the different battle hardens and the one calling that we're getting. It was announced to us about a couple days ago, where this goes into September. So we still don't have the end of the year. We're going to get the rest of it come the Thursday before Pro Tour. That's when we're supposed to get the end of the year events. We get the rest of them, but only one calling, which is interesting. It's in Singapore. We'll get to that one because that one has a little special artwork, a few special artworks, but a lot of battle hardens. And if you live in the Midwest or in the East Coast, you're happy. I think. I think you're ecstatic. You get
Mm-hmm.
you get another Battlehorn Baltimore. So you get to, if you're in that Baltimore area, things are happening for you this year. That's for sure. Um, Cincinnati, Chicago, and Columbus, as well as one in the South for Atlanta, and then a Hong Kong, which is way out.
Yikes.
But yeah. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, I think Twitter said it all with everyone ranting about the West Coast. So,
Oh man, I didn't see any of the Twitter stuff. Can you?
oh,
I mean, within reason. Like, yeah, what was kind of like the
oh
thoughts?
man.
Was there a bit
Well,
of a
everyone was just
storm?
talking
I
about
think,
how Canada and the West Coast just got nothing, and they're just
yeah,
pretty vocal.
it feels like, I don't know. I don't know anything about anything,
Mm-hmm.
but SCG is probably going to be alongside these battle hardens that we expect to see. And typically in a Flesh and Blood battle harden, it pairs alongside like a Magic the Gathering event. So I'm guessing that most of these are paired up, and that's why it works out. I haven't seen a battle harden work along like within itself, other than in the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
But if Realm Gaming isn't picking it up, or Arcane Gaming events or whatnot, then it feels like it has to be like a smaller contractor of some sort, because Channel Fireball is just not in the picture. And that's why we're not seeing it in the West Coast.
Weird.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, being a Dallas local, I feel like there being really like only one event to fight for right now, and like we know Nationals is around the corner. I wish they would have kind of like at least said like, hey, these are like the month, date kind of stuff, but
Yeah, I do wonder what's the quick turnaround. It feels like Nationals and Worlds are going to be next to each other this year, like it was last.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we don't see anything to the beginning of September. So unless Nationals was like at the end of September and then Worlds at November, then you have like a month in between. But still, that's a short turnaround, all the same. So curious to see how that turns out. But yeah, I think Worlds we've confirmed that it's in Europe this time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
are you guys gonna try to make it to that one then, or is crossing the sea just a little too
you know,
much?
we have a booth that's going to be in Pro Tour that's working with Metal Fab tokens, Metal Fab tokens and Flesh and Bubbles. If that booth goes great, sure.
All right.
If the booth goes okay, I'm happy. We'll probably stick it here in the States. If the booth goes poor, well, then I'm definitely sticking it in the States.
Well, you guys hear?
Yeah.
We gotta support the booth.
I'll just say like without really knowing where it's going to actually be in Europe, I mean, I can't really plan anything, and like
Yeah.
like those kinds of situations with how like close they want to announce compared to like when you can buy the flight, it's like there is like a monetary dependency, especially when traveling internationally. So
Absolutely.
I mean, just again, would love for LSS to give the calendar out like
Even
kind
sooner.
of a year, 6 months in advance.
Absolutely. Like it takes a while just to get a passport. If you don't have a passport, it takes like
2 months,
2 or 3 months even. So it's like yeah, you really want to know as soon as possible for sure.
Yeah, because like in all honesty, if I am going to travel internationally this year for a Flesh and Blood event, I'm more likely to go to Japan than I am to go to Europe.
I've heard a lot of people say this, and
it'd be sick.
I'm curious. I would be surprised, to be honest with you, if there was a calling or a battle harden in Japan this year. I think next year, it wouldn't surprise me if Japan and even Brazil get something.
Oh well, Japan's getting something at the end of the year.
Do we know that?
Yeah, there's a Q4 announcement to like the Japan roadmap that James White announced earlier this year, where they were going to get a Road to Nationals. So and they were looking to release a Japanese print product Q4. So
okay, all right. So a Road to Nationals makes sense.
If that is still on track, I would love to get my hands on some of that Q4 product, especially if it has some, rare cards that are only available in said product.
I mean, probably, right? Probably.
I mean,
Um,
I don't think LSS would be dumb enough to even miss that opportunity. So they
could you
usually hit
play
the
in a
mark
nationals?
plus more. So I've heard some people like give up their national spots to play at other nationals, but from what I understood, you would either have to have like dual citizenship or like
Okay,
some
that
sort of
makes
living
sense.
living situation for that to make sense, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
any special case outside of that, I would be unaware of. But
Right, right.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know any like hard rules saying who can and can't, but it just kind of makes sense that if it's a
Hmm.
national, you should play for the country you're a citizen of. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I'm super hyped for that. So like that's something I'm keeping an eye on, and that's gonna be more of my thing instead of the world situation. But that's just because like they've announced Japan. Japan's a smaller area. There's only really like a couple airports to get in through, right? So it's
hmm
like that plan is pretty much like solidified if you've already been Japan before, right? So it's not hard to get those logistics and optics kind of nailed down.
all right. I still think yeah, nationals make sense. I still think battle hardened and calling to me that makes sense for next year, but we'll see. We'll see. Um, because yeah, Japan and Brazil are growing in
Hmm.
numbers, so really cool, really cool.
I mean, we could probably go to Brazil pretty easily if we ever wanted an event there.
Personally, I would like to go to Brazil. I know not everyone's about it,
I'd be so
but
down. The
I
food would be
personally
good.
would
It'd be
like to go to
sick.
Brazil. Um, beautiful people down in Brazil. All right, let's talk about the calling Singapore because this is actually a calling that I would actually like to go
Hmm.
to. I would actually nothing against Europe at all, but I would probably sooner go to Singapore to be honest. It's a beautiful country. Um, but they have the one and only calling that we know of to this date, happening in June. So I'm probably not going to go to that, but it is part of the new set that would be coming out, the Dust Till Dawn, and we have some spoilers kind of that are associated with this calling because if you click on the calling, you can see um, some art of Prism with what is thought by most that is Shiana. I am going to just hold out that it could be anybody. Could
Reinhardt.
literally be a new hero. I don't know.
Yeah, let's just say it here, just because a headdress looks similar doesn't mean it's the same person. Other
Right.
people can wear similar headdresses, people.
Can happen. It is
Yeah.
two beautiful blonde ladies being right next to each other, though. I will say that. And I understand the Shiana thing too because it does look like there's some sort of transformation going on as well. So I don't think it's without any backing, but we'll just see. That's my interpretation right now. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, I love seeing the big brains on the fan page, putting up like some
Oh yeah.
kind of like some lore fanfic saying like, oh, Shiana could become like an illusionist as an adult, and it's like, all right,
hmm
interesting, but I'm not gonna like, tie my soul to
right.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, just yet. But it's like everything that we're seeing looks so cool. Did you see the Birmingham art?
Let's talk about that because yeah,
Hmm.
that one looks very cool too, and that one has its own speculations as well.
Oh,
Uh, yeah, a lot of people are saying Dory, but some people are saying Kasai.
is
Um,
is Dory left-handed or is she right-handed in the
ooh,
art? Oh, oh no! Like,
oh no.
I
um,
I love the
yeah,
speculation though, because like, if they were to print another Light Warrior, holy
I
cow!
mean, our poor boy Bolton. I don't think he's in a good spot. I think you got to give him something. They do show in the calling Singapore. They show a picture of Vestige of Soul.
Hmm.
So, I think we are going to be seeing a lot of light coming in. I mean, you'd expect to see it with Dust Till Dawn, but like, yeah, Birmingham would be within that range after the set is released. I can't imagine it would be referencing to any other set. So probably getting a light warrior. And yeah, curious if it's a new hero, if it's a reprint of a hero, if it's an adult version of another hero.
If that was just majestic art, though,
It could be, right? It absolutely could be.
right? I think that Light
What would the
Warrior could
name
also be getting something, right? So I think that's not out of the picture. But like, if they were to release more than 2 heroes in this expansion set, would
Mhm.
that not just be like the craziest thing ever?
You know what? The name of that majestic card would be Divine Deliberation. That's what I'm going to call it out.
I like it.
If it is, I'm going to sue LSS.
Ooh. Shots.
That's a strong statement, but
Yeah.
look, I'm saying if LSS releases more than 2 heroes in the Dusk Till Dawn, then I'm just gonna say they've done it again.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that would be a hit. That would be a hit for sure.
That would be. Oh, absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. You know, there's a lot of waifus in this game, and people would definitely attract to this one for sure. You know, I'm just waiting for my original Levia to get a little love, and I'm sure she will. Yeah. All right. So yeah, those. Oh, and then there is. I've seen the card, the new Sigil of Solace promo. Have you guys seen this one?
Oh,
Yeah.
the card.
The card, yeah, it's a very pretty card. Very Asian theme,
Mhm.
which fits perfect. But yeah, it looks great. Like this game does pretty good with the Asian themed cards. I will say that.
Yeah, my only issue is that like my ignorant ass, I don't know whether it's Merlion or Merlion, like, or like something else.
I'm with
you
you,
know?
buddy.
Like,
yeah.
like this is like the coolest thing I've ever seen, right? The art looks fantastic. It has like that sunset look to
Mhm.
it. So
Oh,
like
I know.
it's
Yeah.
just got that tinge that like, makes Flesh and Blood artwork just really stand out, right? It's
Mhm.
foreign and it's going to be really rare. So like especially for our control players, I know they're just licking their lips right now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They're just
No.
the more they look at it, the price just keeps boom 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 boom.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's a very pretty card. Can't blame them. Can't blame them at
Mhm.
all.
I
So,
mean, yeah, I'm hyped for it. I'm gonna be getting a play set, so
yeah, makes sense. Makes sense.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that
well,
card's too good.
that's kind of all I got going on here. I mean, we're just kind of waiting now. You know, we got a battle hardened coming out here soon. In what was that place called? It's a weird place.
Richmond?
To announce. Was it, oh, maybe it's not weird. Maybe
no,
it's just Richmond.
that's a weird place now.
Yeah. Yeah, so Battle Richmond coming. That is going to be our only event until the Pro Tour.
Mhm.
So that will be our first, like you were mentioning earlier, Jonathan, our first like LSS, hosted event. That should give us a pretty good solid look on what to expect out of the Pro Tour, I'd imagine. With it being so close, and then we get Pro Tour, baby.
It's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, Pro Tour coming right our way.
We do got some new product coming out. You know what? And our guest next week might be someone that might be able to give us this new product. So, stick tuned for that. But yeah, guys, I think we kind of covered what's been going on. How y'all feel?
Splendid.
Yeah, feeling great. Looking forward to Pro Tour Baltimore, ready to play. So, yeah, we'll be grinding away and seeing what we can do there.
I got one random thing to bring up. This was from way back earlier when we were talking about Arachne, the new one, Solitary Confinement.
Okay.
How he didn't get an adult hero because they don't want to go again on yet again another adult. But what if when Briar possibly, air quotes, when Briar LLs loses go again for that hero, then we get the adult hero that would grant to go again. Sorry,
that's very possible.
That was just cooking in the back of my head, but I mean, probably relevant.
Yeah, I think the Tales of Aria heroes are coming to their end. I think they're both pretty close to getting LL as far as Oldham and Briar, and I think Lexi, her time is going to come. She already got better with some of these arrows, so I think Azalea is probably the best ranger right now, but we could see some Lexi getting some points this Road to National season for sure.
Dude, like Azalea is like a crotch rocket motorbike, dude. That thing ramps like nothing else. Like
holy moly, it does.
Yeah, that scares me. But that's the only note I want to leave on.
That's a great note to leave on. I think that's the best one. All right, well, guys, I appreciate you guys tuning in. We had a little bit of a little hiatus for a little bit. A lot of things going on. We were cranking out videos, pre-release happened, all sorts of stuff. But we're gonna get back on track here. We're gonna keep them coming out to you guys. So keep with us, and we'll catch you on episode 22. Until then, keep on fabbing. Thanks to my guests, Jonathan and Gabe.